Good morning, friends. Hey, this is Grace, and I am live today to do a cool demo with you guys. I'm going to do a mixed media project and using a couple of different stencils. I'll be using the rose pattern stencil set and the 2-inch script letters. These are the ones I'm going to use, so when you come on, say hello, let me know you're here. I'll be giving away 3 sets of stencils by the end of the live, so make sure that you say hello so that, I'll randomly choose from the comments. So you have to say hello so I know that you're here. Hey, Tracy. Oh, you're the first one on. Hey, Tracy. First one here. Good job, girlfriend. You were ready. You were poised, waiting, and ready for this. All right, let's see. I just got to get this live feed up on my iPad right below where I'm broadcasting from up here. Down here, I have my iPad ready, and I'm just going to pull that up so that I can see your comments as I go along in the project. That way, if you have any questions, I can answer them. How is everybody today? How are you and what is the weather like? Hey, Tammy. Hello, Denise in California. And is it Janai? What a pretty name. Jeanne? Pretty name. Hello. Kimmy in Iowa, and Frankie is here from PA, Pennsylvania. Holly says, oh, it sounds exciting. Yeah, little mixed media. I'm a huge fan and been doing a lot of it lately. Good morning, Gwen. Hello, Kathy. Kathy Farrows. What a nice name. I love reading your guys' names. I love it. Claudia, hello. And Christina, hello. And Jan. Tracy says it's hot where she is. I think it's probably around 70 here right now, but it's supposed to get close to 85 today, which is so lovely for us. Sunny and 85. Hey, Jude. Hello, Robin. And there is in San Antonio, Texas, Miss Norma. Gwen says, Kimmy, I'm in Iowa too. Yeah, do your check-in. Let everybody know where you're coming from because it's so fun to connect with other people. Hey, Erin. She says, I can't listen because I'm at the hospital with my daughter getting wisdom teeth out. Oh, that poor girl. Many blessings to her that it all goes smoothly and she has a quick recovery. Hey, Katerina. There's my sister Kathy. Hi, Kat. Lori, hello. And from West Virginia, we have Miss Luella. Oh my gosh, you guys are just coming in really hot. You're flying in. Okay, here's what I got for you. I got all kinds of paints here. Let me get this camera down and ready. I got my little piece of tin foil. I may need more of that in a few minutes, but I pulled out because I'm going to be using this again. I haven't decided which side. I used this a couple of weeks ago and I really do love it. I'm going to use that. So I have some greens, I have some pinks, I have my duck egg blue. I've got some DIY. I have, you guys always ask what brand. I don't think, when you're working on stenciling projects, any acrylic paints, I have clay-based, mineral-based paints, chalk paints. I would almost say it doesn't matter. You will find, and this is what I find, I get all different kinds of brands, so then I know what I like and what I don't like. And I would encourage you to do the same. Basically, any acrylic paint that you can find is going to be fine. This is Apple Barrel. It has a much thinner consistency than folk art, so for stenciling generally, a thicker consistency is better. But really, it doesn't matter a whole lot. So don't get too worked up about what your brand name is. Just test out your paints. Make sure you give them a good shake before you use them. I have had this thing of paint for a very, very long time. I have gotten out of the habit of buying really, bigger containers of paint. I'd much rather have the smaller ones so I have fresh bottles all the time. And I don't use that much of it that I have to worry about having a big vat of paint like this. It just lasts me years and years and years. Hi, Dana. Hello, Karen. So yeah, you guys make sure you say hello because I will choose 3 people at the end of the project or sometime. Maybe I'll do some in the middle, some at the end. It doesn't really matter to Essential Stencil, but Essential Stencil wants me to pull 3 names from the comments to give away 3 sets of stencils. But let's get started. I'm going to use the rose pattern and the 2-inch script letters. I'm going to be using all of the uppercase. They're very pretty. They're very pretty, and I thought they'd go really well with the rose patterns. Both of these are limited quantities right now. I generally check, Essential Stencil asks us to check the inventory before. I'll put this up just for a second. Always ask us to check the inventory before we go live so that we make sure that what we're showing you is actually available. So if you want to purchase it, you can. Every once in a while we get stuck, like we just, the inventory, you know, it shifts in a short amount of time and we get stuck showing you something that isn't available. These are both available, but low quantity. So if you want them, go get them today. There's about, it says 50 plus of each one left. So you can use my code, The Comfy Nest, or my link to get 10% off these or any other things you add to your cart. Hello, Marie. Thank you. Hi, Tanika. Evelyn's here from Leavenworth, Kansas. I love reading. I love reading where everybody's coming in from. So thank you for saying hello. Hello, Erica in Texas. Carrie says it's 87 in North Carolina today. My brother moved to North Carolina recently from New York, so I bet he's feeling it. Okay, I'm going to work on a canvas panel. You know, lately I've been watching the other brand ambassadors too. I know Sharon did the tags yesterday. The tags are so fantastic from Essential Stencil. I know she made tags yesterday. They're nice and thick and chunky, and they're a gorgeous pine wood. These are not chintzy, you guys. So she used these yesterday, and Melissa, what did Melissa do? Let's see. Amanda did on a board. She was using a wood board, and Melissa did a variety of different things, and she was using markers. Hers was really fun, and chalk. Today, I'm going to work on this canvas panel. It's a 9x12 canvas panel, and I very roughly, I want the letters to be right justified, I think is what you call it, on this side of the board. So they're going to meet up here and then be spaced out. So what I did is I just put a rough pencil mark on my board so I would know about how much space I have for what I'm planning on here. So what I did was I took the letters and I actually started with the last letter in the word and worked my way that way. I don't know if it's left or right for you because everything's backwards, but I started with the E and then went S-O-O-H-C so that I could right justify it, excuse me. So I want the last part of the words to both be in the same position, okay? So I did that so that I have a general idea. I am going to be using, I have this really pretty, it's just a chunk of floral paper. It's just it's not even a cardstock. It's a regular paper in terms of how thin it is. It's scrapbook paper, and I have just a chunk of it. I've already used part of it, but I'm going to use this on my panel, and then we're going to stencil. I'm going to use Mod Podge to put this on here. So the first thing I really want to do though is get this painted. So I based everything really off of this piece of paper when I chose my colors. So I'm going to put the letters on there. I'm not sure which color yet, but the flowers, the roses, I chose two different pinks, thinking I'm going to mix them and kind of get a deeper pink for the stenciled roses on here. I have some greens for the leaves. And then for the base coat of this, I chose, you guys, this is Cream. This is called Cream by Annie Sloan Chalk Paint. And I'm telling you guys, I must have had these paint bottles for like 7 years. They're so old. In fact, I couldn't even shake it. That's how thick it was. So when I opened the end, these are the first in, first out bottles. When I opened the end of it, I had this huge bunch of paint like stuck on the end here. So I just left it open because what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that cream. I have my Duck Egg Blue also picked out because that matches so beautifully. There are tiny little blue flowers on here and that matches perfectly. So I'm going to use that as well. But the base, like the foundation of this, is going to be cream and white. So I just need to start slapping some paint on here. And since I have my palette knife that I was using to like get rid of these chunks, I thought I would just, since my palette knife is already dirty, start spreading this paint on here. I need to get a cream color base on here. I put a little bit of water to get this to spread. And actually, working with thick paint, let me see if I can scrape some more of that off there. Working with thick paint and a palette knife, it actually gives you a bit of texture that I think is pretty cool. So don't ever, you don't always have to use a paintbrush. I guess that's my point. You can also paint with palette knives. These are the palette knives. You get 3 plastic. They're different shapes from the Dollar Tree. You get 3 in a package and they're $1. My intention with the cream was to paint it on, and then I found out it was so thick because it's so old, I had to add water to it. But I think even because it's been sitting for so long, even if I open this side, I'm going to have a big chunk of paint. I'm going to show you if I can get it open. Oh my goodness. Here she goes. Here's the weakling again. You know, my secret, I'm not sure that my little opener that my friend Denise gave me is going to work. So my secret is to take a little hammer and just get all those little crusty bits of paint, as I call them, paint boogers, to like break up in there. I think that's what holds those lids down. There we go. All right, so let's see. It's probably a thick clump on this end. See, that's what I that's what I had on the other end. Just a thick clump of paint that is just obstructing my jar from opening. I'm just gonna knock that stuff in the garbage. I got some more chunks on my, don't be afraid of the chunks, girls, guys and girls. So I had to get that off there because the way this bottle works is it squirts out the end, but it's not gonna squirt out with all that there. I have not used this paint in a long, long time, but I really liked the color. So let's see if we can get some of it to come out. Yep, there we go. All fixed. So now I got little bitty chunks in there of cream colored paint, but it doesn't bother me at all. I was thinking I was gonna mix some white in with it, but I don't know. I'm really liking that color. It matches my paper so well. It's a little darker than my paper. So let's go ahead and add, I don't have any Sloan white on hand. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I'm just mixing in some white acrylics. And actually that's gonna give it a cool little mix of white and cream together. I've got some of it's chunky because of the clumps of paint. Totally like that. I can still see my pencil lines. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to be doing more mixed media right over this. I'm gonna add both white and I'm going right on my panel. I don't even need my tin foil for this because I'm not using a brush. I'm gonna use a little bit of my cream, a little bit of that white, and I'm just gonna spread this out. And then I'm gonna take my hairdryer this to dry it. And I will, when I get to that point, you guys, I'll do a check on all the comments because I can see the comments flying by on my screen. You guys are chatting this morning and I love it. There we go. See, you get like little ridges. I like it. I like to just play. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly lined up and spread out. It can be chunky. Chunks are good. You got chunky paint, don't throw it out. Use it and use it with its chunks. Like if that's how it ended up, don't worry so much about getting it worked out. Get out a palette knife. You can use an old like hotel room key, an old iTunes card or gift card that was used up. You know how they always ask you, like you use up a gift card and then at the store they say, you want me to throw that out for you? I always say, nope, I'm going to use it in my craft room. So I save all of those, you guys. All right, listen, I got paint all over my finger. It's all over the sides of my board. So I need to get out my craft mat to protect my pretty little table. This is the craft mat that I accidentally cut with my rotary cutter. So I have a big old piece of painter's tape on the back holding it together. But I want to put this down because I know that paint is going to get like places that I don't want it if I don't. So I'm just going to finish up with, you can see I have a little bit of white mixed in with that cream. And I'm loving the look of it. It does not, I'm not looking for perfection here, you guys. With these canvas panels, I always tell you, remind you, and in my workshops too, I say, you know, if you have an intent for this project, you plan on hanging it somewhere, propping it up somewhere, you have in mind in your home, or you're going to give it as a gift, depending on what you're going to do with it. If you intend on framing it, you won't need to worry about the edges at all. But if you plan on just propping it up somewhere on its own without a frame, you'll want to make sure that all of your edges are covered with the paint that you're using on your project. I do want to just mix in a little more white. I'm going to come in with just a couple more blobs of white to mix it in, and I'm going to take the hairdryer to it while I check comments. So see, I like that bright, the contrast of the bright white. It makes it really fun. I'm going to pick up some of that white from over there and try to transfer it over in this corner because I got a lot of it here. So there we go. Cover up some of that pencil mark. That'll all get covered. I'm not really worried about the pencil marks. The pencil marks can be good guides for you. I just needed to know like how wide that word choose was going to be on my panel. So I knew where I could, how much room I had for my flowers. Okay, putting that away, I'm going to get my hairdryer out and I'm going to check comments. So you guys keep chit-chatting amongst yourselves. And we'll get this drying up a little bit. All right, let's see. What's everybody saying? Oh, Janet, those roses are so pretty. And Janet says, pretty stencil. That rose pattern is just beautiful. Oh my gosh, it just makes me think of lace curtains. Especially the example, like how you can use it on the stencil itself. Essential Stencil always gives us like an example of how you could use it. And see how they used it as a pattern? It makes me think of a lace curtain. I just think it's so pretty. We're gonna get this to dry a little bit. Put my hammer on my tin foil so it stops floating around on me. All right, what other comments do we have? Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind on comments. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thanks, Angela. You're sweet. She says you have so much energy. Woohoo! It's like all the coffee I drink, Angela. It's the coffee. Believe me, when I first wake up, my husband and my older son, they're both very energized as soon as they wake up, and I'm not. I need a little time to wake up. I wake up slowly, and they're always revving to go right away. It takes me a little while, but then I'm good. Hey, Carrie. Welcome from Vegas. She says it's her first time watching, so welcome to Essential Stencil. Holly says, I love the roses. I'll have to get them next time I order. I just said, Holly, there's 50, the inventory says 50 plus. So there's between 50 and I'm guessing 60 of each of the stencils that I'm using today left. So use my coupon code. If you order $45 or more, you'll get free shipping. There's a guarantee on them. So if you really want them, order them today. All right, we're going in a little stronger with the air here. I'm just using a regular hairdryer. I'm not using a heating tool. I'm focusing on the places where the paint's a little bit thicker, which happens to be my corners. I haven't bought any yet, but I'm really interested in purchasing some of the thick acrylic paints because I love working texture into my paints. I love working texture in. Okay, basic idea. I'm going to use this floral paper on this project somewhere. I'm going to use Mod Podge, and I'm going to decoupage this on somewhere. I don't know exactly where yet. I don't have a complete plan. Listen. If you guys, it's probably still way bottom of my garbage right now, but I had the huge vat of Mod Podge and I hated it because it was so difficult to keep that container clean, and once it got really deep into the container, it was really hard to get the Mod Podge out. So I'll from now on, I'll be buying smaller bottles of Mod Podge, but I transferred the last of my huge bottle into this little container, and this is what I've been how I've been using the last bit of that Mod Podge. So I know it looks funky, but all this is matte Mod Podge. I use it most frequently for my decoupage because, and decoupage is just a fancy way of saying gluing it down. I mean, let's get real, people. It's just a fancy way of saying gluing it down. You can also use your Mod Podge as a top coat, to top coat your project. I've been using it most often because it's really inexpensive and it's very available. There are all kinds of decoupage mediums that have different effects, but most often I use Mod Podge. I am loving this, you guys. That palette knife with that old crusty cream colored paint, I already have look at all this texture that I already have. Look at that. Ooh, I miss them texture. Look at that. Look right there. I love it. Woohoo. Okay, so now this would fit. It's a 12 by 12 that I used a little chunk of, obviously. This would completely fit over the top of all of this, but I don't want to cover the whole thing. I want it to add to, look at all those hearts. Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you guys love it too. I found Yoda napkins. I'm going to Mod Podge that on my board. Linda, that's so fun. That's so fun. Isn't that cool, you guys? All that texture. I'm glad you guys are loving it. I'm going to show you one more time because I saw all your hearts, so I can tell that you're interested in that. I love doing all these, like, I love mixed media. I love texture. I love ripped paper. I love ripped paper. I love Mod Podging it that way. So I think I'm going to put this on a couple of the corners. So I'm going to leave, I want to cut off this, that's like just like the little label that they put on their paper. I'm going to cut that off. I think I'm going to put this on the corners, but I want it to be smaller. So like this kind of idea, something like that. I want it just peeking through. I don't want it taking over. It reminds me of the phrase my husband taught my kids this phrase a few years ago when we were trying to get them amped up and ready to go to school one day. And my husband said, okay, we're Kurtzes, and we're going to tell people we're not here to, he says, we're not here to take part. Tell them we're here, not here to take part. We're here to take over because we're Kurtzes. So that's one of our family phrases that we just all giggle at when we say that to each other. Okay. I kind of chose the corners. You know, it has a straight edge on two corners. I can stick that on that corner easily. I mean, this one doesn't have two straight edge corners, but I can still use it here and then just cut off what I don't need. The idea is I just want to get some of that floral background in a couple of different places just to add to what I got going here. And actually, that doesn't even have to be corner to corner. Let's just do it that way. Okay, I'm going to Mod Podge these on. I'm getting just a general feel for what I'm doing here. I kind of want one of these really big flowers, so I'm going to tear this one off because I want that somewhere. This one has just tiny little flowers. I'm going to put that one aside. I'll use that somewhere else. I'll use this one here because I want that big flower. I want that to show. I'm going to cover it up a little bit. You're going to think, okay, she wanted all those flowers to show. And I'm telling you now, I'm going to cover it up a little bit. But for now, this is what I'm going with. Okay. So in my monthly craft group, we're doing a really cool mixed media project this month. I'm going, see, my paint is still a little wet. Got a little wet paint there. It's okay. I'm going to put the Mod Podge on my paper and slap it on there. I'm a messy crafter. I don't get too worked up about things being perfect. I love, my paint was chunky and I'm like, yeah, chunky paint, bring it on. Challenging me. I love it. I like chunky paint. I love, you know, I love like, okay, I don't love making mistakes, but when I do make a mistake, I'm like, all right, Grace. I just kind of talk myself through it because one of our other family mottos is that we're savage, not average. And so when I paint, I think, okay, Grace, be savage about this. You just made a mistake. How are you going to fix it, girl? How are you going to make it part of the project? I usually just try to make it look like I tried to do that it was my intention. Mixed media, like this, using different mediums to bring them together and to have this texture, and using, you can, oh my gosh, there's so many different things you can do to add dimension to your projects, but it's very forgiving. This way of crafting and creating is very forgiving because nothing, it comes to life as you do it. Like I have a general idea of what I want to accomplish, but I don't have a complete idea. So I'll make my mind up as I go with this stuff. Sometimes these really frail, thin edges, I just need to get just a little bit more underneath there to get that to stick. Paper ripped from my thumb, doesn't matter. It's okay. It's all good. I don't use a ton of Mod Podge on the top of my project because sometimes Mod Podge can resist your acrylics, and so I don't want that to happen. So I'm just using it as a glue for this really thin paper. It's really fun to work with thick, chunky, and like ridged papers that have flowers in them, like with fabrics, because it adds more dimension, which I think is super cool. Okay, so far, that's what I got. That's what I got so far. I think I can put my Mod Podge brush away. I'm going to take the hairdryer to this. No, I'm going to put more paint on here, and then I'm going to take the hairdryer to it one more time. But first, I got a lot of paint. So right over my mixed media mat, So, you know, you guys, I don't know what your dreams in life are. Sometime in my life, I'd like to have a craft room that has a sink in it, right? And I told my husband, I need more table space. Like, I have this one little table and half of it is covered with supplies. I just want more table space. That's what I dream of. Where did you come from? Okay, more paint. Now, I'm going to use the same colored paints. I'm not going to apply them directly to my board because I don't want a complete coverage. I'm going to go for a very light coverage, and I'm going to use this cream colored from Annie Sloan again. I do too. Susan says, I love the old look. Me too. Me too, me too. And Sally says, oh, me too. Oh, about loving the sink in the craft room. Wouldn't that be nice? Like a man cave, right? So we need the, like, what do they call it? She shed, right? We need a little bathroom in there and a sink and a tiny little fridge for our wine. And water, of course. Colleen says I'd settle for a craft room, right? Seriously, Colleen, when we, that first house that we bought, I had my craft room before the kids came. So we had the extra room at the time. So then it got a little more challenging after we had the boys. But I think my husband saw the value of me having a separate place to go to do my stuff. Oh, Christine says I have a beautiful art studio in our building, but no sink or bathroom. But still, Christine, to have that space to call your own, good for you. Okay, I'm taking purposely big old fat brush with ugly paint bristles, but see how they're kind of splayed out? That's good. That's good. I'm going to even beat it up a little more. I'm going to put a little bit of this paint on there. And I'm not really, my goal here, I call it the land of offload. I don't necessarily want to offload. I just want to spread that paint out so it's in all of the bristles. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to pounce some of this cream colored paint over the edges of my paper so that it looks less obvious. It's going to look more like it's part of my cream colored background. Okay, so see how it's really obvious here? I just want to cover up a little bit, not entirely, but cover up a little bit of those edges so that it looks like the paper is part of, like it's built in and under that paint. So I'm coming up over my flowers with the same color that I put on my background. If you can see what I'm doing. And I have no rhyme or reason, you guys. My goal is to cover up those edges a little bit, but I do want to cover up the flowers. I don't want the flowers, I don't want the paper to look perfect. I want it to look like it's part of what I'm doing here. So I gotta make it do that for me. So I say, so you're not the boss of me, man. I'm the boss of you, and you're gonna do what I tell you to do. All right, there, see? Much better. But I still wanna see my flowers. I don't wanna obscure them. I wanna make this look more authentic. Like maybe, like it makes me think, maybe there was paper all over the whole thing and something happened and some of it got torn out. That's kind of what I'm going for. Like, if you've ever been in a house that has, like a really old house that had wallpaper and parts of it are torn off the wall. I mean, yeah. The house that I grew up in was pretty much like that. So yeah. Something, it kind of reminds me of that, where you can, like, if you just close your eyes, you can think, oh my gosh, this room, when that paper was brand new, it would have been so pretty. But now you only have bits and pieces of the paper. Or one of the houses that my family bought, I don't remember what room it is. I said kitchen, but I think it was in one of the hallways. There was paper on the wall, and we took it off. And underneath that, there was more paper underneath that, and we took that off, and we kept going down, and it was like 8 layers of wallpaper. It was fascinating. It was like peeling back the layers of this house's history. All right, you could monkey around with this all day. We don't have that time, so I'm gonna let it go as it is. You can see I got like some serious texture going with the thick chunky paint that I had, and the paper's kind of peeking out there. And I have it on all 4 corners. If it was a bigger bigger surface, I probably would have put some of that paper in chunks in different places in the middle too. This is a really simple, you guys, a really simple mixed media project. I'm gonna put my letters on first because I want the flowers to go around the letters. So I'm putting Choose Joy down here. And like I said, we're gonna start with the end of the word, not the beginning. So I'm gonna put joy first. What I might do to help me out, just give me a second. I'm gonna get some painter's tape as a way of giving me lines for my words, if you know what I mean. In our garage, too much good stuff to park a car in the garage. I cleaned an area for my woodworking and stenciling. My husband keeps putting items in that space and I just put it where it belongs. Good job, Carolyn. Okay, so if I use the bottom edge and I line up my paper with the bottom edge, then this top line can be my line for my letters, theoretically, right? So what I don't know, where's my O? There's the O. I think, I'm just seeing if that, the bottom part of the Y, I'm just trying to decide if I want that to hang below the line. No, I want it to go above the line. I want all of them to line up exactly the same. So I just was testing that for a second. Okay, I'm gonna go with the bright pink, you guys, on this. I'm gonna use this really bright Kissing Booth. This is a mineral-based paint. Clay-based, mineral-based, what is this? It says chalk and clay. You can ask Debbie from Debbie's DIY. I don't know what that means. I just know it blends beautifully and it's very thick, and this is really old. So now you can see, look at the chunks I have with that. Working with a palette knife, that would be fun. I'm gonna dig in there. I don't want chunks right now. What I want is just, you know, regular old bunch of paint so I can stencil. I'm looking for a little tiny stencil brush, and I do have, here, this little one. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of it. I need it over here. Get my land to offload. I don't tape down my stencils normally. If it makes you more comfortable, I want you to do that. I don't want you to copy me if you're not comfortable with it yet. Okay. And I know, my sister said to me the other day, oh my gosh, I'm totally stealing your idea. I'm going to do that project just the way you did it. Go for it. Like, you're all welcome to copy this. Like, that's the whole point of demoing it, right? Now, if you were sharing it with someone else, I would hope you would say, hey, I got this idea from Grace over at the Comfy Nest. She was working on some Essential Stencil project, and I learned this from her. That would mean a lot to me if you would give me that credit. But feel free to use what you learn. Okay, this pink is gonna show up really, really well. See that? So now I'm just gonna go in. It's gonna say choose joy, because I think we all need to be doing that right now. I was thinking about phrases and I was going to do be happy or choose happy. And I like the word joy a lot. And I did like the idea of joy being a smaller word than choose being above it, like visually. I thought about that. So I'm going with choose joy, and I just feel like right now, my husband keeps asking me, yes, he normally asks me, but lately, given what's going on, he's asking me a couple of times a day. Did you see the news? Did you watch the news? Grace, you really need to turn the TV on. You got to see what's going on. You need to know what's going on. And here's the thing. Can I just say something to you? I told my sister this the other day too. I do need to know what's going on, and I do know what's going on. For the most part, I know what's going on, but I do not need to watch it all day long because it gets to me. It really annoys me. It gets me upset. It makes me sad. I get angry sometimes when I see what's going on. So yes, I do need to know what's going on, but no, I do not need to have it ingrained in my head all day. We can choose joy. Even though all that stuff's going on, and I encourage you to, if it's really getting to you and weighing you down, it's okay to shut the TV off and not watch the news tonight. It's okay. It's okay. Choose joy. Choose to get in your craft room and play with a palette knife and some chunky paint. Choose calling your grandkids and having a little FaceTime, or your kids and talking to them. Go for a nice walk. choose something that's going to bring you joy. We need to all do that right now. Oh my gosh. I think of all those people. I'm telling you, all those people who are doing all the bad things, all the people who are doing all the bad things. I'm gonna stop talking about it here after I say this. How can we help them to choose joy? How can we help them? And I know life circumstances sometimes just stink. I get it, but I wish that I wish that we could somehow help their little hearts to help them just be more happy. Because so I know life really stinks and things are tough sometimes, but sometimes not sometimes. We always have a choice in the way we react to things and the way we choose to express ourselves. Like, that's a choice. Choose joy. There, I'm done. Choose joy. Okay, so the joy is done. Because I'm using their little letters and they're dry already. Like, they really are dry already. You would want to make sure that your letters are dry, because I've got to put this whole stencil, this big 12 by 16 stencil, I got to put it back down over those to do the choose part. So just make sure that you have dry paint. Otherwise, when you put this down, it might smudge your project, and that would be very sad. Okay, now I should move my line. Oh, that tore a little bit of my paper up. That's okay. It tore just a tish of my paper up. But look at, this is what I love about mixed media. It's not a big deal, you guys, because it's not meant to look perfect. It's supposed to look old and grungy. So I'm just going to take my cream colored paint and I'm going to cover up where that got torn. And that's good. See? Fixed. Okay. So that this doesn't happen again, I should put this right here. I'm just not going to press it down so hard. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then if anything comes up, I will just fix it. Because I actually am pretty good at just saying, hey, that was a flub up. But we're going to make it look like I tried to do that. I'm really good at that, you guys. I've had a hard time saying how I feel, so I just rather paint and listen to music. Dahlia, I feel the same way. Okay, I said I wasn't going to say anything more, but let me say this. One of the groups that I belong to, and it's a coaching group, so and it's a really good group, and the people are awesome, and we, like as in any other group of people, like even within my family, we don't always agree, right? Well, this one person was making the point, and I see it a lot about if you're silent, I'm paraphrasing, but this is basically what they're saying. If you're silent and you don't say anything, that you must agree with them, right? Or that you are complacent, you're part of the problem. And I understand the point. I understand the point. I can't handle it, you guys. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. My son, my 14-year-old who just got social media accounts, was telling me, Mom, some kids said something that really, like, I don't agree with them. So I told them what I think. I said, that's awesome. Like, you really should. You really should always speak your mind and be truthful, but be kind, be considerate, be thoughtful, take their position in. And then I said to him, and he said, oh, they said this back to me. I said, listen, Lennon, if you're going to go on social media and you're going to put your opinion out there, you're going to get someone to come back and say something to you that they don't like it. So if you don't have the energy for that, just don't do it. And that's where I am. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting into it. I'm not going to get into it. Because I don't have I just can't. I don't have the emotional strength with where I am to do that. And I think that's okay. And I know that that doesn't mean that I agree with what's going on. In fact, because I know my heart hurts and I'm very sad about all the stuff that's going on. So my intentions, I know my heart, I know my intentions, and I can silently pray. I can silently pray and that be my contribution. That's how I feel about it. And it's okay. Everybody has to have their own position, and we have to respect everybody's position and then move on and choose joy within your life. Thank you, Marilyn. Marie says, I'm with you. Yeah. Cindy says, just breathe, right? That's good advice too. I'm going to put that on here. Just breathe. I disagree because I'm silent and I just don't want to get involved. Connie, I'm not sure if you meant you disagree with what I was saying or you agree with that, but Yeah, silence, you know what? You can only do what you can do, and we have to respect each other. You can only do what you can do. And you don't know what's going on in somebody's life, right? I better think here because I'll spell it wrong if I don't. We don't know what's going on in the background. And that's what I think about all those looters, right? I don't know what their life is. I imagine it's harsh. I imagine that there are things that they can't cope with, right? And so maybe this is their way of trying to cope. It's horrible because I think about all the businesses that have gotten ruined and these business owners now that have to pay for fixing, all of the police cars that have gotten broken, and then all of our tax dollars that have to pay for fixing that. I don't see the benefit, but I try to understand that there's something there, something that they hurt or something's going on, and I wish that I could help. And since I don't know them, I can't help them, I can pray, and that's a help. That's what I think anyway. But I'm just a little old me trying to teach you guys some stenciling here. Okay, so speaking of that, I'm coming in, I have this like load here of this Kissing Booth, which is a cute name for that. The names of her paints are always really, really cute. Like she has a product that's called, I think, the Big Top, like the circus, like it makes me think of the circus. Something's Big Top, or she has really cute names. It's Debbie's DIY. I have this big load of paint here. I come to over here, just like next to it, where I work the paint in little circles. I work the bristles and I try to get as dry as I can on my brush so I don't have a ton of paint on my brush when I come in. It's probably hard for you to see, but I'm doing tiny little up and down motions, which I call stippling or pouncing. I'm just going up and down. The script is very thin. It's very, very thin, the letters. So you don't need a whole lot of paint to start with. The paint that I'm using is like, there's so much contrast between this Kissing Booth pink and the cream color that I have on the background that it's really easy to see it. It shows up really nicely. So when you're choosing your colors, that's another thing to think about is how well is this color gonna show up on my project. This one, I feel like I want it to go a little lower, but I'm not. I'm gonna stick with what I'm doing here. Stick to the plan. And actually, I can use my O here. The I mean. I can use that to match up with the O. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm straight, and I can see my J is hanging down a little, so I need to pick that up. So I'm using this as a clue that I was positioning my H in the wrong direction. If you don't have a ton of paint, that's the other benefit of using very little paint is, and you're using these big stencils that have all these letters on them. If you don't use a ton of paint to start with, then it's going to dry really fast and you won't have to clean each letter in between using it again, if you know what I mean. Because you could clean it with every single time you use it, but that would make it would just take so much longer, right? So we're going to try not to clean it in between each one. This font is super pretty. It's very girly, romantic, pretty. So I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to go really well with the roses. I'm going to stencil some of those roses next. So just stay tuned for that. And you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to choose a name. I'll pick one winner now for a set of stencils. Let me finish this C and then I'll pick a winner. I'm just going up and down, really little motion of up and down. There we go. Yep, it turned out pretty good. Okay, I didn't have this pressed down, but I had my stencil on it twice, more than twice, a bunch of times for the letters, so it still got stuck down. Okay, so I can see one more space where a little bit of my, I don't know, that's not even, oh, it is paper. A little bit of my paper got pulled up. Thankfully, it wasn't on part of my J. But right there, a little bit of my paint got pulled up. So again, I'm going to come in with this same paintbrush and I'm just going to dab in the corner. Like you can see it right there. I just got a tiniest little bit of paint and I'm going to come in and I'm just going to cover it up. Got a little bit of on my J, but I'm all good with that. See, right there. I covered it up a little bit and I got a little bit of that cream on my J, but look at how well that shows up. Okay, so now we still see these roses. Now what I want to do is cascade. I'm still going to use this same color of pink. What is that now? Get off there. I'm going to use the same color of pink. I can put the letters aside. And now, oh goodness, they're both so pretty. I think I'm going to use this one on here. It most matches the roses that are already on there. Oh, I got to pull a name. I'll pull a name here. Just a second. Give me a second here. Pull out my stencils. And I'm going to cascade. I'm going to somehow make a big rose presence over here. But let me pull a name. You guys, I cannot keep up. There's so many comments. I'm missing so many good ones. Hi, Fran. She says, I'm late, but I'm here. Oh, Sherry. She says, I'm so glad I found Essential Stencils. It's such a great community of people. I mean, the people who own the company are fabulous. But also, like, all of the followers and the brand ambassadors, so awesome. Does the 5-inch letter set match the welcome set with the paw print? I don't know, Darlia. If anybody knows the answer to that question, please answer her because I'm not sure without looking at them. Thank you for sprinkling, Cindy. Thank you. Yes, Sherry says that's a delicate font. I love it. I do too. A joyful font and a joyful sign. Yes, this rose is so pretty. So I'm going to use the same color, pink, but I'm also going to add in a lighter pink so I have some variety to my roses. I don't want it to just be all plain Kissing Booth. We're going to do Kissing Booth and we're going to mix in a little bit of, this is called Baby Pink. It's just I was looking at this actually and thinking I want them to kind of match the soft pink that I have going right there. I just got a little bit of paint right there. So I'm going to try to mix the two and then I'll pull in some green colors for the stems, but I need a big bunch. So I just grabbed a bunch of the dark pink, which is called Kissing Booth, and then I have a bit of that baby pink there. My brush is full of the dark pink. Now that I have that done, I would like for these roses, I have to remember that I'm not going to stencil on here. Right? So anything that I do is going to be around that. I've done this before with the buffalo plaid, this same technique, but I'm going to do it with the rose pattern this time. I got to pull a name. I keep saying I'm going to do it and I forgot again because I'm so excited. Let me get a piece of paper. I'll pull one person now and then 2 more people at the end. These people are going to win a set of stencils from Essential Stencil. So I'm going all the way back to the beginning to make sure that I'm fair. And there are a lot of comments, you guys. Oh my gosh, I just noticed there's like 240 people, more than 240 people here with us. Holy schmoly, that's a lot of people, you guys. How fun, right? How fun. Okay, I've got a name. I hope it doesn't disappear before I can write it down. The comment was love all paint. So this was kind of toward the beginning. So the winner of the first set of stencils, her name is Jude. Not Judy, it's Jude Riffle. You are the first winner of a set of stencils today. So Jude, when you get a chance, you're gonna go to your email system and I want you to email support@essentialstencil.com so that they can send you, I don't know what they're gonna send you, a set of stencils. Okay, I'm coming down from the bottom stem here. I'm gonna line up the bottom stem. And then if I envision I could get this whole rose or almost all of it, this whole rose, and then I got some leaves here. So it's going to be a good mix of both rose and leaves. So I'm going to start with the flower petals and do that first. And I think I'm going to do the center a little darker. And then as I go out, I'm going to get lighter pink. And I'm stippling. Again, I'm coming in on my rose. I'm going right over. Maybe actually I should do a dry brush, which would mean like I'm not even going for full coverage. Darker in the middle, I'm going with lighter out toward the edges, but maybe I should. not, maybe I should keep it so it's not completely covered. I'm gonna do some of this, and you guys know I love to hinge my project. So I'll hinge the stencil back so we can look at this first rose. I'm going off the idea of darker in the middle, lighter as you go out toward the edges. Because sometimes flowers aren't all one color. They're sometimes brighter in the middle and dark on the edges, or sometimes they're the opposite. They're really dark in the middle and they're brighter on the edges. So look, I'm just going to do some of this and pull it back to see what I think. And then if I don't like it, I'm going to come back in with whatever color I think I need to fix whatever I don't like. All right. I'm just going to hinge it. So I'm very firmly with this hand, I'm holding this down so that the stencil's not going to move it all on me. And I'm just going to peel this back, hinging it back so we can look at it, make our decision, and then place it back down and make any changes that we want. What do y'all think? Do you like it? Don't you like it? Let me move you in closer so you can see it better. That would be a good idea. Oh my gosh, I love the variety of color. I'm looking at it actually on the screen that you're seeing it. I'm looking on my iPad. I'm not even actually looking at the board. From my iPad, I really do like the variety of color. Right here, see, I don't want to lose this hinge, but I'm going to point. I'm going to hold this up with my mouth. Right here and in here, it's a little more faint than I would like it. When I was thinking a dry brush, that's kind of what I was thinking might look nice. I'm trying to decide if I should come in with a little more paint right there. I think I will. I think I'm going to go for a little more coverage. And I'm going with the really bright pink, the baby pink. So that I'm trying to put, what I'm trying to fill that in with is the baby pink. So again, that I have more variety in the colors of the rose. Oh my gosh, I saw a lot of your flowers. I just looked at your hearts. I just saw little heart emojis. Oh, Tanika says, I love how that rose turned out. My name is Rose. Rose, like my mom gave me a name when I was born so I can talk and say Rose. It's such a pretty name. It's such a pretty name. It's so feminine and beautiful. I love it. Well done, Rose's mama. You picked a good name. Okay, let's look at it again. I added just the baby pink where I felt like it was, I wanted to fill in. So it really looks like we've got some really nicely blended colors here. I'm kind of going crazy. And now in the middle, I do want it to be a little darker. So like close to the middle, I want to go back over that baby pink to just darken it up a little bit because I wanted it to go lighter toward the edges. All right, let's hinge it back again. Oh my gosh, you guys, I really love that. That's just two colors. And it looks like more than two colors because while the paint is still wet, you're using your brush to blend in more color. Okay, I'm gonna skip the stems and the leaves because I'll use the same paintbrush. I'll clean it and do the stems and leaves. So I'm gonna come down to this other rose, this really big one here. I'm not going to do anything on top of my letters. I'm gonna go close to it, but I'm gonna pretend like I have a piece of painter's tape. If this wasn't so fragile, I would put a piece of painter's tape. The other thing you can do is take a piece of paper and put it over the part that you don't want to stencil, right? I could do that and then just use a piece of painter's tape to hold down my paper to the stencil. So it's not going on my canvas board. I'm just taping it right onto the stencil. I want to avoid that because that's where my C is and I don't want my C to be covered with anything. I want to get close to it, but I don't want to cover it. Okay, here I come in with in the middle, same process. I'm stippling on some dark pink in the middle. I still have some dark pink on my brush. I'm going to go into the lighter pink and I'm kind of creating a medium pink. It almost looks like a violet. It kind of creates, it's very curious. It's creating almost like a violet color. So in a circle around that darker color, I'm going to come in with this slightly lighter color. And then as I get closer to the edges of the flower petals come all the way down here. So as I get closer, I'm going to try to get brighter down here. Ooh, that was a lot of paint on my brush. Make sure I'm stippling up and down, then it shouldn't be a problem. This Debbie's DIY especially is a really dark, or it's a really, excuse me, thick paint. So it's really actually pretty good for stenciling. It's just expensive. And I will say this to you too. Let me give you another tip. If you ever use a brush on top coat, don't ever use that with Debbie's DIY. Hers is a clay and chalk-based paint, but it when it gets wet, it gets reactivated. So if you have a stencil project like letters, and then you try to brush a top coat over it with this kind of paint, it's gonna smudge your paint. It's gonna smudge your project and your letters. So don't do that to yourself. Don't do it, girls. Just don't go there. Okay, I have one more petal I completely missed. I'm gonna check comments real quick. Oh, Rose, that's sweet. Me too, Kim. I love this stencil. Like I said to you guys, I checked the inventory. There's 50 plus left. So that means there's got to be 50 to. So if you don't have this stencil, go run out and get it now. Use my code, The Comfy Nest, please. I would really appreciate that. And you can add it to your collection. Okay, that is all of that rose. I'm going to hinge this back again and just take a look at it. So I'm going to hold it from up here very firmly. And I'll turn the project a little bit so that you guys get a better angle. Let's pull it back. So see how I went around the C? Maybe even a little too close, but I went around the C so that I wouldn't cover it up. It's awesome. Did I miss a spot? No, I didn't, because there's a leaf up there. I love it. I'm going to leave it just the way it is, actually. And I'm going to start getting into the leaves. So I hope this encourages you guys to just use your stencils a little differently. You don't have to always use them on a piece of wood panel. You can, and for outdoor art, you can use it for indoor projects, works of art. This would make a great wedding gift, I think, if you got a really gorgeous frame to put it in. This would make a great wedding, like a shower or a wedding gift. All right, I'm just cleaning off my brush. You guys, that's all I'm doing here. I'm trying to get most of that pink out of it so that I can do, I'm going to come in and do the greenery now, the leaves. Same thing, I'm going to do the same process, but I'm just going to come in with some greens so I can cover this chunky paint up. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you really love this look. I love, you guys, mixed media is so fun to me. I may come in and do a little bit more here on it on the top. Let's just see how I do with timing on getting these leaves done, because I love adding layers and layers and layers on a project using this technique of mixed media. So I had paint, then I decoupaged some, I did the paint, then I decoupaged paper, and then I came back in with paint again. I used some chunky paint, which is super fun. And now I'm coming in with paint again with the stencils, and then I might stamp some things on the top of that even. So let me do a little bit of this greenery here, the stems and leaves. It's very, very bright, actually. I am gonna have it like cascading out here. And that's the whole idea, is that I chose the stencil to go around the words, and I chose the positioning of the words so that I could, you know, I call it cascading, but like integrate these leaves coming toward the words joy, the word joy. So I'm just gonna, it's gonna look like it came right off, like there's still more going on. Like you can envision that if this kept going on, there's some big, huge bush under here of roses, like a rose bush right underneath here. So I'm just gonna come in and do these leaves that are attached to these two flowers, the leaves and stems. There are a couple of more smaller flowers integrated in here, and I'm just gonna ignore them. I'm gonna pretend that they're not there. There's like, this is the stem of another rose right here. I'm gonna try to skip it, and then I'm gonna hinge this back and take a look and see if I like it looking that way. And if I don't, then I can go back in and fill it in. So I have two greens here. I have Christmas green, an apple orchard. Two different brands, doesn't matter, doesn't even matter. It's going to be darker in some places, lighter in others. The paint coverage is going to be darker in some places, lighter in others. And it's all good. Remember, my C is still right there, so I'm going to try not to go even in any closer with that leaf. And Jackie says, so pretty. I know, Angie, I would say I'm not generally like, not that I get flowers ever, but to get a bunch of flowers, if I were going to go to the florist and pick flowers for my home, I wouldn't pick roses. I would pick like, you know, like a variety of flowers. Like, I wanted to call it a variety pack. Like, maybe there's a rose in there, but carnations and daisies and just like all, I love, you know, a combination of all kinds of roses. But this stencil is just so pretty. All right, let's see. I'm going to hinge this back. Now I'm focused. I really want to be focused on the greenery, and that's what I'm going to be looking at when I hinge this back. I'm going to hold it firmly up here at this rose, putting my hand flat on it so that I can pick this up and we can look at the leaves. To me, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So there is a flower right here. There's a flower coming off, like a new rose. And I did not, the stems that came in between this part of the rose and this green leaf, I left it alone. I did not paint it. But I'm feeling like this corner is a little bit bare, so I am going to come in this corner. Let me lift this up one more time. I'm going to turn it around. Oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't budge on me. I'm going to turn it around completely. I want you to look right here on this edge of my board because it looks too bare to me. I want it to look like it's coming off the edge of the board, and it does down here, but not up in this corner. So I'm going to hinge it back and show you what I mean. It's just too bare up here. So I'm going to come in. All of these leaves that are coming off the page, I'm going to fill them in so that it looks more like the bottom. It matches more and it looks more complete. You'll see. Let me get that done and then I'll pick this up and show it to you. See, that's better. Now it looks like it matches. Right in here it even looks a little bit bare. So I am, that rose that I was just going to leave alone, I am going to go in there and fill that in. There's no reason. There's a rose that's just, the tip of it is on the board. So let me this is the part that I'm deciding as I go. I didn't think I wanted that rose on there at all, but now I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill it in. It's like literally just the bottom of this rose. Almost all of the rose is off the page, off the canvas. Let's see, it just add that blip of color right there. All right, I love it the way it is. I'm going to peel this off so I can show you the whole thing. And then I'll tell you a couple more things about, like, if you're going to do this project. So this stencil set is the rose pattern set. The 2-inch script is the letters that I used. It's very pretty, very, very scrolly and pretty. There's 50 of each left. So if you want them, go grab them today. Use my code TheComfyNest to get 10% off. There's a guarantee on them. You guys, I'm loving this one. I was thinking, oh, that lighting didn't help at all. I was thinking about this corner here, doing something else. And here's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to distress the edges because it looks a little bit too crisp and clean to me. But look at so I have all of that texture in here. No. It's opposite for me. So I have all that texture in here and that is showing up beautifully. My paper is showing up great. It almost looks like a stucco finish on the side of a house. And then I have my flower and my greenery and then the wording. Wait, which way? This way. Okay, I'm going to distress it just a little bit more. Just bear with me and then I promise I'm going to pick 2 people. I'll go pick 2 people. So let me get... This is just stressing, this ink pad. This is I don't know. I'm torn about it. It looks so lovely the way it is, but I'm feeling like I need to just distress it a little bit. This is like a big deal because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess it up, but I want to muck it up. I don't want it to look so perfect. You know what? Let me see if I can grab my blending tool. Hold on. Those are horses. This might be a better way to do this. Let me grab this blending tool and see if this is a better way to do it. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Yes, it is. Yes, this is way better because it doesn't look so harsh. Yes, 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 look. It adds a little bit of mucking it up, but it's not so much that the blending tool is really what I needed. I want it to come in a little bit on my project. I was gonna skip that rose. No, I won't. I'll go right over it. I'm mucking it up, you guys. I love to muck up my projects. I was a little nervous. I'm glad I thought to grab my tool because that's what I needed, was to just, oh my gosh. And by rubbing it on like this, you guys, the texture, oh my God, I might do the whole thing. The texture of the board, the texture of that chunky paint is coming through. I might just hit this, I'm gonna call it stucco. All right, look at my edges. Look at my edges. So now I feel so good about this project. Like, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back at all, like my dad used to say, I'll pat myself on the back. But I feel like this could be propped up somewhere, not without a frame. It wouldn't even need a frame. I just love it the way it is. Or I could punch 2 holes and hang a jute rope from it and hang it somewhere. Would I top coat it? In my house, I don't. I don't. Normally. If this is something I'm going to keep for next year too, then yes, I'm going to top coat it before I give it to my son to bring down to my paint room and put with all my other projects that I keep for more long term. If it's just a temporary project that you're just going to have up for the season, you could probably get away without top coating it. So it just depends on how long do you want it to last, I guess is the question. I'm going to come in here on my stucco, like this raised part right here, with this blending tool, and I just want to hit that raised part so it looks like a dirty old wallpapered wall. See it? I hit that raised part with that. It's really subtle, but I'm coming in and just adding a little more of that dark aging color everywhere. There. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this, you guys. All right, I think I'm finally done. I think I'm finally done. You guys like it? Show me some hearts if you're loving it. I love this project. I hope you guys like it too. I used 2 different sets. I'll tell you one more time, just so you don't get confused. The rose pattern set. And then I used the 2-inch script, and it comes with 3 sheets. They're 12 by 16, so you get the capitals and you get the lower, smaller ones. So you get both. Okay, there's 50 of each of those left. If you want them, go grab them. Yeah, she says, I love this technique. We are doing mixed media this month in my membership club, the Craft Therapy Club. So if you guys are interested in that at all, go over to the Comfy Nest page and make sure you get on my email list, because I will open the doors to that again in the fall. I just closed the doors. And I'll open them again in the fall. So thank you for joining me. Okay, let me pull 2 more names. Yay, 2 more people. We love winners. We love, right? Everybody loves to win something. So let's pull some more names. Thank you, Cheryl. She says, beautiful. I do too. I love that antique look. Sandy says, I love the antique look. Me too, me too. All right. Hey, Erica in Texas. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going through the comments. I'm going to choose 2 more people who are going to win a set of stencils. The 3 winners, so Jude Riffle has already won. Jude Riffle. These next 2 winners, the 3 of you just need to email Essential Stencil. Here's the email address, support@essentialstencil.com. I'm going to send your names over. If you email them with your name, your email address, and your mailing address, they'll send you a set of stencils. Okay, okie dokie schmokey. Let's do it. Next winner is Phyllis Sager. Phyllis, S-A-E-G, is it E-R? E-R. The comment is, first time I'm catching you live. Shut the front door, Phyllis. Phyllis, you lucky doggity dog, you just won. You want a set of stencils. Oh, there goes my blending tools. You want a set of stencils. I'm super excited for you, Phyllis. Welcome to Essential Stencils. Congratulations on winning. That's so super fun. I see a big congratulations from someone. You guys are awesome. Who said I was a great teacher? That just went flying by. A great instructor. Thank you, Janet. Thank you for saying that. You guys are more than welcome. I do virtual paint classes from the Comfy Nest with Grace. So go find my page. Make sure to like it and follow it. I also have a membership club where we do craft projects in that group every month that are exclusive to that group. Let's see. I'm trying to read comments, but I got to pull one more name. Let me pull one more name. Let me do that first. Christine Harris Howell. Christine Harris. I love telling you which comment won you a set of stencils. The comment that just won you a set of stencils is I choose joy. Me too. I choose joy. Jude Riffle, Phyllis Sager, and Christine Harris Howell. You are our 3 winners today. Congratulations, ladies. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for being part of my project. Thanks for chit-chatting with me. You guys go do something that makes your heart happy. Something. Give yourself just that little gift today, even if it's 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Just, it's so hard because we're women and we take care of everybody, but go do it. Go do that for yourself. It's also a gift to your family because you come into the room a little bit more lighthearted and fun when you're able to give yourself that little break. Go read a book, read some poems, peruse Pinterest, whatever makes you happy. Go for a walk, bike ride. All right, you guys, have a beautiful, blessed, joyful day. Find me over at the Comfy Nest with Grace. If you want to get text messages when Essential Stencil goes live, the instructions for that are in the description of this live broadcast. And when I hit the finish button, it will stay on the page as a recording, so you can look at that and get the instructions on how to get text messages when we go live. You guys take care. Thanks for joining me.